Hey guys, this is Mortal HD here. I'm going to do a quick talk through on the latest patch changes for AOE2 Definitive Edition. I'm going to run through just the Civ balance changes. There was quite a few other changes, but I'll probably make other videos later on about those. But I'm going to talk about the main ones that I think I want to hear about, and I think everyone else would like to hear about. So 11 Civs got quite a few nerfs and buffs. Lithuanians are up there with quite a decent buff, I'd say. And I reckon we'll get right into it. So we'll start with the Bulgarians. Um, Quite a big nerf for the Bulgarians. Um, they they actually got the Paladins tech tree got removed, so now they don't even get Paladins in the late game. So the Imperial Age cavalry is going to be a lot weaker. Although that the stirrups, their unique tech upgrade in the castle once they hit Imperial Age, now affects all cavalry instead of just light cavalry. So it's actually huge. If they still had paladins with that buff, they would actually be probably by far the strongest cavalry civ. Um, and now without paladins, they're quite a bit weaker. Like, look, their hussars are going to be okay. They're going to keep up. Um, but again, that does they're probably not your going to be a go-to cavalry civ now in the late game, which does change their meta a little bit. Um, their standing in the meta, I should say. Um, if we move over to Ethiopians, um, their torsion engines was increased from zero point 0.3 to 0.5, which is actually pretty big because now their scorpions, their arrows actually have a hitbox of half a tile width instead of zero point 0.3. So imagine when you have that. No, I mean that's why it's good to have those terrain grids on screen. Which actually in this patch they've actually upgraded, and it's actually a lot more customizable. You can customize it to how it best suits you. And that will take up one arrow takes up half of that square. So when you got like mass halberdiers late game running at you, or mass just trash units, um, or just a mass of anything really, those scorpions are just going to eat through them a lot more. They're going to be a lot more cost effective. Moving on to Goths, they got a slight buff. Not going to see them get a huge upgrade here. I mean, like, they're not going to be that much more known in the 1v1 ladder and things like that, but in pro play. But getting Loom as a Civ bonus at the start of the game is quite nice. It saves them a 50 gold early on, saves them actually investing into it because Goths are renowned for having a bad early game, bad defense. They're a Civ that definitely want to be putting on the pressure the whole game. If you can put pressure on Goths early, you should be able to just close them out because you just don't want Goths to get to that late game, have the eco to hit Imperial and get the upgrades they need and just absolutely take over and boom. Um, so yeah, Loom's going to help them a bit. Um, Not too much, they still don't have stone walls. They only got palisade walls, so it's quite easy to raid them. So yeah. Going on to the Indians. Um, the Indians, their fisherman work speed is now 10% instead of 15, and instead of carrying 15 food. So of course their fishermen aren't going to be as effective anymore. They're still strong. They still get that 10% work bonus speed. So they're still going to be stronger than other civs. In pro play, probably not going to see much of a change, depending on the map, obviously. But they're still all round quite a solid civ, and I wouldn't classify them as a nerf as a nerf, I should say. Um, yeah, so we'll move on to Persians. Now the Persians actually received quite a big nerf, I'd say. A noticeable nerf. So in the Dark Age are a lot weaker. Their TCs and docks no longer get the bonus work speed. They only get the work speed in Feudal Age and onwards. So their early boom isn't going to be as big. They're not, in Imperial, of course, they're going to be working a lot faster. So they're going to, when they hit 100 vils, for example, in Imperial, um, the enemies will probably have around 80 to 85, depending on how fast they build and how many TCs, of course. But yeah, definitely a nerf. The early game's not as strong, nowhere near as solid at the moment. We'll move on to the Slavs. So the Slavs actually, um, I'd say received slight buff. They're a good civ overall. Strong late game civ. Definitely don't want to get into the late game with them. They're always going to win. So their boyars, their unique unit, their movement speed got reduced to 1.3 from 1.4, and their pierce armor was increased by +1. So if we have a quick look, we'll see that here. Where are they here? Their boyars. So 12 +1. So they got +1 pierce armor, even their standard boyars now. So they don't even need to be elite to get that bonus, which is actually really nice. Especially as they hit the castle, they throw down their castle, they get their boyars out, bang, and they're really strong. It actually makes them quite annoying to deal with. And then once they, of course, they get that Imperial Age and they get that nice juicy tech where they hit splash damage. Whew, it's quite scary to deal with. Next we got the Teutons. The Teutons. Receiving a slight buff. So their barracks and stable units now receive +1 melee armor in Castle and Imperial Age, with a +2 total. So Castle Age +1, Imperial Age another +1. So their units are going to be a lot more harder to deal with in Castle and Imperial Age. So their mid to late games are going to be quite a bit stronger. And then their Teutonic Knight movement speed got increased to 0.8 from 0.7, which is slight increase, not massive. Still going to be a slow unit. But nevertheless, they're still an annoying unit, those Teutonic Knights. They're quite hard to kill. But that +1 melee armor for all their barracks and stable units, that's big. That's a nice upgrade. That's gonna carry them up, I reckon, upper class. And they're gonna be that quite a bit more stronger now, which is good to see. Next is the big one, Lithuanians. Now, Lithuanians, they actually, their units, so their the unique unit, got their cost reduction. So they were 50 food and 80 gold, and now they're 70 food and 50 gold. So that's an increase of 20 food per unit and a decrease of 30 gold per unit. So this is going to help them manage their gold issues late game, especially if they're going into their unique unit tech trees and they're getting them, which is always nice to get anyway as Lithuanians. And it's going to help them just, accumulate that gold a bit more. They're going to be, for every 2 units they make, they're going to be getting a third one free on gold. Food's never really an issue late game unless you're getting raided a lot and your economy just doesn't look very pretty. But really, if you're nice in pro play, they'll be that's a very nice buff. And then of course, their training time got reduced. So the standard latest got reduced to 20 seconds from 23, and their elite units were reduced from 20 to 18 seconds. So now, you're going to be able to produce more units faster for cheaper gold. Okay, the food's going to be a bit more, but food we're not too worried about. Gold is what we're worried about late game. And so you're going to be able to trade a bit more cost effectively with other units, which is always nice. In a 1v1, they're going to be cheaper, so they're going to trade better. And when you have mass numbers with equal resources, 2 groups of armies, they're going to just be that more better, that more stronger now. Moving on to their tech. So their tower shields, the cost of research was reduced from 800 to 500. So that's an extra 300 food in their pocket, let alone that they start the game with an extra 150 food. So effectively, that's 450 food they're just saving off the bat. Okay, the unique unit got increased in food. So, okay, but still, that's 450 food they're saving straight away. You know, that goes straight towards attack upgrades for cavalry, and infantry, and armor upgrades, which is always very nice. Um, and then they get an increased bonus pierce armor to spearmen and skirmishers from +1 to +2, which is huge for early game because your spearmen and skirmishers are going to be nice to counter scout rushes, your archer rushes, even enemy like man at arms, and so your man at arms and your other and man at arms with skirmishers or archers, you know. So your spearmen and skirmishers are going to be trading that much better, um, which is nice. Makes them stronger early game as well, and that's going to obviously carry out through the whole game, which is always good. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it for Lithuanians. There were two more civs I didn't touch on, um, which is the Khmer, and the Khmer received a nerf in their farmers' work rate, so their farmers produce 3% less food, which is kind of big, but naturally they're going to be one of the best farming rate civs in the game, so it's not to worry too much about that. 3% isn't a huge change. It's not going to be, you know, game ending. But they did lose bombard cannons. And sorry, this game's actually going really quick right now. What am I doing? And bombard cannons are actually a really nice unit, especially in the late game. Um, it's pretty much just a trebuchet, a mobile trebuchet that can, and it's just really nice in a lot of unit compositions. And losing that as the Khmer does bring them down a bit. Um, they were very powerful, way overtuned, and now it's just kind of giving them a bit of a reality check now and bringing them down a bit. Still not going to really, you know, change their standing in pro play. They're still going to be good, still going to be effective. Um, nice civ overall, anyways. But yeah, and then also the Italians, their fishing boats actually just got tuned, so instead of being -15 wood, it's actually -15% wood, which what it should have been. So their fishing boats actually got increased to 64 wood from 60. So again, not a huge change, not massive, nothing massive for the Italians. Same civ overall, no changes there really, just a slight, you know, tweak to make it actually accurate to what they're actually meant to do. But other than that, that's pretty much wraps it up. Um, Again, I was thinking of doing a map changes, rotations on maps, and fixes, things like that they've done. Um, and yeah, you guys have a nice day, and thanks for watching. See you later.